Welcome to the channel. The story of one evening, one person, and an entire generation of quiet observers. It was one of those evenings when the city outside the window buzzed, flashed with lights, and persistently beckoned somewhere, to bars, visits, meetups, dates, just to hang out. But inside the small apartment, it was quiet. Warm. The kettle whistled lightly, the laptop warmed his knees, and a young man named Aiden was staying home. And, what is especially important, was staying there absolutely voluntarily. From society's point of view, Aiden was doing something suspicious. He was 20-something, his health was fine, the internet worked, friends wrote sometimes. And yet he didn't strive to rush out into the world at every convenient opportunity. Moreover, he often chose home. Not as a temporary shelter, but as a full-fledged habitat. Cars honked, somewhere a group was laughing, ads promised the best emotions tonight, and Aiden's messenger blinked with messages. Let's go. Where'd you disappear to? We're right nearby, come out. Aiden was home. In old socks, with a mug of tea and a feeling of absolute inner agreement with what was happening. He looked at the phone, exhaled, and carefully placed its screen down, not out of spite, but out of respect for his own peace of mind. And it is precisely from this moment that the story should begin, not only about Aiden, but also about a whole category of young people who increasingly choose the couch instead of partying and silence instead of noise. The phrase, "I love staying home," is pronounced in society with such intonation as if the person just confessed to something forbidden. As a rule, a pause follows in response. Then, a searching look. Then, a diagnosis. But why? Are you alone? Aren't you bored? Bored is when you are not where you want to be. Aiden wasn't bored at home. At home it was quiet, predictable, and honest. No one demanded he be more cheerful, louder, or more normal. At the same time, he didn't consider himself a hermit. He worked, socialized, knew how to joke. It's just that he perceived every exit from the house as a mini-project with expenditures of energy, time, and social stamina. When Aiden did go out into the world, he treated it responsibly. For example, going to a friend's birthday party. It would seem a celebration. But for Aiden, it was a whole quest. Getting ready is already a trial. After all, one has to pick out clothes that won't be too homey, but also won't create the feeling of a stranger. One has to tune in for conversations. And for some, that isn't easy. One should prepare universal phrases for answers. 2 hours later at the party, he felt like a hero who had passed a level of increased difficulty. 3 hours later, he began mentally saying goodbye to everyone at once. Upon returning home, he felt the same satisfaction people feel after a marathon. Only instead of a medal, pajamas. Or sweatpants and a ratty t-shirt. But introvert doesn't mean unhappy. One of the most persistent misconceptions is, if a person rarely goes out, it means they are lonely and suffering. In reality, many homebodies don't avoid socializing at all. They avoid unnecessary socializing. Aiden could talk for hours with a close friend in the kitchen. He could laugh sincerely. He could be open and warm. But only on one condition, if it was real, and not because that's just what you do. Large gatherings, where conversations are superficial and attention is scattered, affected him like a loud commercial, seemingly bright, but exhausting. Homebuddies often hear, "You just haven't tried relaxing the right way." And by the right way, they usually mean loud, long, with a mandatory photo. Aiden tried it once. He didn't want to do it again. He preferred a different kind of relaxation. Tea that hasn't gone cold, an interesting movie, silence that doesn't require a response. And most importantly, the chance to go to bed when you're tired, not when it's rude to leave. It's important to be honest. Yes, sometimes the desire to stay home is linked to insecurity. When a person is afraid of seeming different, saying something stupid, or feeling out of place. But the key difference is simple. An insecure person wants to go out, but is afraid. A self-aware homebody can go out, but doesn't want to. Aiden realized this when he stopped making excuses. He no longer explained why he wasn't going. He simply said, "I'm happy at home today." And the world didn't end because of it. But those around them want to save people like this. Society doesn't like it when someone goes off script. If you don't gravitate toward the noise, it means you're missing out on something. If you feel good in solitude, it means you haven't understood life. Sometimes homebuddies are dragged out of the house with sincere enthusiasm. But the truth is, not everyone needs to be shaken up. Some people are already in balance. Homebuddies value choice. When they aren't dragged along, they agree more often. Because they feel respected. And if they showed up, it means it's truly important to them. This can be said not only about Aiden, but also about a whole category of young people who are increasingly choosing the couch over the party and silence over noise. The phrase, "I love staying home," is spoken in society with the kind of intonation as if the person just confessed to something forbidden. As a rule, a pause follows. Then, a questioning look. Then, a diagnosis. Yes, the people around you can even come up with a diagnosis. Some people get recharged by the noisy world. Others by silence. And, perhaps, the biggest mistake is thinking that there is only one right way to be happy. And if someone suddenly doesn't leave the house, maybe they've just finally arrived at the place where they feel good. Of course, sometimes the desire to stay home is indeed linked to insecurity. It happens. If a person is afraid of judgment, comparison, awkward pauses, and stares, home becomes a fortress. There, no one asks what you do for a living, why you aren't married yet, and what you've made of yourself. But there is an important nuance: not every homebuddy is a runaway. Some are simply wired differently. There are people for whom the outside world is not a source of energy, but an expense. Every meeting, every conversation, every time going out costs them internal resources. And if an extrovert gets recharged after a party, an introvert gets drained, like a phone with GPS, music, and the flashlight on all at the same time. Aiden didn't realize this right away. At first, he also thought there was something wrong with him. Why did others want to go somewhere, but he didn't? Why was he tired after socializing, instead of inspired? Over time, a simple realization came: he isn't broken. He just works differently. The new type of homebuddies aren't necessarily silent hermits in stretched-out sweaters. Often, they are quite active, smart, ironic people. It's just that their life flows inward, not outward. They have several characteristic traits. They don't need 10 meetings a week. They need one, but a real one. A conversation where they can be themselves, not a version for the public. For many, solitude is a punishment. For them, it's a luxury. In the silence, they think, invent, analyze, and create. They don't hate people. They just choose. Company for the sake of company doesn't appeal to them. Noise, bustle, and superficial conversations tire them out faster. But they are good at picking up on nuances, moods, intonations, subtexts. The irony is that such people often turn out to be excellent conversationalists, when they actually want to talk. When people start dragging a homebody out, with the best of intentions, he feels pressure, not care. It's as if they are trying to remake, fix, or improve him. There is an unspoken rule: youth must be loud. If you are under 30 and aren't running around to meetups, trips, and parties, it means you're missing out on something. But the problem is that happiness is not a collective thing. It doesn't follow a schedule and doesn't depend on the number of nights out. Write what you think about this. Which lifestyle is more acceptable to you? What do you like, an active life or a measured one?